Hello chaps, welcome to John Robson Guitar Tuition. Now, if you play rock, or blues, or country, or metal, or pretty much any style of electric lead guitar, then I got a feeling you're going to find this useful. Right then, today we're going to be looking at creating runs with sixths. Now, I'll explain and kind of show you what they are in close-up in a second. What you need to bear in mind is that this is a technique that has been used by guitarists as diverse as country players like Albert Lee through to someone like Gary Moore used to use these quite a lot. Eric Johnson, loads and loads of players have used these in a wide range of styles. So let's have a look at what they are and how you play them. Okay, so let's get down to business. As I said, we're using sixths. Now the scale that we're going to be basing all of this on is the G Mixolydian mode, which is just another way of saying a C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, but where the emphasis is placed more around the fifth note, which is G. Okay, so let's take a G chord, fairly standard bar chord, and we can see that in that chord we have this note here. This is a B note. Okay, we're still playing around a G chord. The backing track is very much centered around a G chord, and that's going to kind of take care of where the emphasis lies within the scale, basically on the G note corresponding to the G chord. So let's take this B note from the G chord, and we're going to count that as note 1 and then go 6 notes up the scale. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that's B, C, D, E, F, G. And we're going to count B as note 1, and that takes us up to the G note, which is note 6. And we pair those two notes up like that. Then if we start a note higher on the scale, the C note, and count 6 notes up from that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that takes us to this A note, so we'll pair those two up like that. And then doing the same thing from the D note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that gives us these two notes, a D note and a B note. And so on and so on. You just kind of extrapolate that along all of these notes like that, and it gives you pairs of notes that kind of look and sound like this. Okay, coming up next are a couple of diagrams showing you what those notes are along the length of the neck and which fingers to use. A lot of people kind of tie themselves in knots with this technique because they use the wrong fingering. Basically all you got to remember is that your second finger is the finger which kind of tracks up the third string like that, and then you kind of alternate between your first finger on the top E string and your third finger on the top E string, so it's kind of going between those two shapes as you move up and down the neck. Right, here are the diagrams showing that a bit more graphically. Next up we have a little bit of a lick or two played using this technique over a G major Mixolydian kind of backing track. You should be able to see pretty much what I'm doing in these licks, so I haven't bothered tabbing them out. I'm too lazy basically, but yeah, just take a look at what my fingers are doing and look at those diagrams that you've seen before. The little kind of incidental bits around the licks, kind of down here at the 3rd fret and up at the 15th fret are just kind of standard little bluesy rock licks really that I'm sure we all have something similar in our repertoire. That's not really the focus of what I'm aiming at here. It's about kind of doing this ascending and descending thing with sixths. So take a listen to this solo and take a look at what I'm doing, and hopefully you'll get some ideas from that. Now then, another nice little trick you can do with these sixths is to create arpeggios with them. An arpeggio, as I'm sure you're aware, is a chord played one note at a time, sometimes called a broken chord. And yeah, well, we're playing pairs of notes already, and in any major or minor chord there are only 3 notes, so it's not a big ask really to include that 3rd note of the chord in what you're doing. The way I tend to do this is by transposing these shapes that we've seen already from the 1st and 3rd strings, basically move them to the next set of strings over, so you're going to be on the 4th and 2nd strings. It's exactly the same shapes, albeit in a different order, and there's a little project for you. You can work out what order to put these shapes in on this new pair of strings, the 4th and 2nd strings. We know that the notes in the scale are G, A, B, C, D, E and F, so you know, figure out where those notes are on the 4th and 2nd strings and come up with that set of an equivalent set of runs that will take you up and down the neck in the same way as we've seen previously. Now then, adding that 3rd note in to create the arpeggio, that's what we're going to be doing on the top E string. And here's, I think this is one that I used in the example that's coming up next. Yeah, I think I did something like there's an A note and an F note and a C note. And then I can move that up to a B note, a G note and a D note. So what I've got here is an F major arpeggio, then a G major arpeggio. Then if I go for a C note here and an A note here, there's my pair of sixths. And then an E note here. Then I've got an A minor arpeggio. Then if I go for a D note and a B note there, that's me pair of sixths. I put an F note on top, I get kind of a B diminished sort of arpeggio, or you could see it as being part of a G7 chord. And in the example that follows, I resolve to a C note. And if that's starting to sound a little bit familiar, it's because you're probably an Eric Johnson fan. He does this kind of thing all the time, most notably on the intro to Cliffs of Dover. I'm not saying this is exactly how he does it, but what I am saying is this is how I do it when I want to sound a little bit Eric Johnson-y. Right, here's the close-up of that lick, kind of reasonably fast and then slowed down. So there you have it, folks. That's the kind of thing that you can do with sixths on the neck of the guitar. I hope you found it useful, informative and maybe even a little bit inspiring. If you did, then why not hit the subscribe button, and that way you'll get to see more videos like this. If you live on Teesside in the northeast of England and you would like some tailored one-to-one tuition in any style, beginner to advanced, then give me a shout via the details at the end of this video. And if you like bluesy rock guitar playing with occasional little bits of twiddly flashy stuff with a strong emphasis on melody, then check out my new album. It's called The Whiskey Made Me Do It, and it's available via iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, Spotify, all the usual places basically. I'll put some purchase links in the description below. Right, that's it for now, folks. Hope you've enjoyed it. See you all again next time. Bye for now.